right, let's get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, welcome, 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 everybody. We're so glad that you decided to come to our masquerade for 10 and older kids. We are so excited to have an opportunity to speak to a real-life detective. Mr. Josh Lewis is donating his valuable time, because how often do we get to talk to somebody who like really goes out and does real stuff that's not just on TV? Are you guys excited to talk to somebody that does real stuff that's not just on TV? I was like, that's so cool. So he's here to talk about real stuff, and it's specially designed for you guys. And so we're going to also give you a reward, because you're the smart kids. You're the kids that are here tonight. You're the kids that get to hear these stories, and you're also going to get to ask questions. And I'm recording it as a disclaimer for other children that wanted to be on that were not able to attend. We are not going to put this on the World Wide Web. But if any mother that's here doesn't feel comfortable with us sharing Mr. Josh's video with children that weren't able to be on, please private message me so that we can figure out how maybe we could edit your children out if they want to be edited out. We're just doing this as a public service. And so tonight, we're giving away a $50 Amazon gift card for somebody that's here. Yes. And I'm going to give it to you personally, because I just believe so much in knowing what it is and educating. And Mr. Josh is donating his time from his goodness of his heart. And everybody that's on gets automatic entry. However, the rule is that you must be on for until 7:30. So we're going to start. Mr. Josh is going to share some stories, and then we're going to open it up for questions and answers. And as long as you're here participating, and you do need to have it where we can see you on, that you are here from the beginning to end, you will be entered for the gift card. Now, every time you ask a question, as long as you're 10 or older, you get to ask questions, then you're going to get extra entries in for the Amazon gift card. At the very end, Miss Debbie is going to draw from our drawing wheel a one winner. So at the very end of today, you will find out if you get to have that spending spree. But I feel like everybody won just by being here. How about y'all? So this is participation. You can, ask questions, and we want you to. That's why we spent this time. So Mr. Josh is just going to talk for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll open it for questions.
Yes.
I'll tell you a little bit about him, and then we're going to get started, okay? So I'm going to put it on this view here. This is my daughter, Aria, and son, Zayden. And we're happy to host with everybody today. And so many of you, or some of you, have seen the flyer and already know. Mr. Josh has very long accolades, very long history, but I'll just share with you in brief. Detective Josh Lewis has been a police officer in some capacity for over 25 years. For the past 10 years, he has been investigating crimes against children and the human trafficking of minors, which has become a really, really big thing. And this is not meant to scare you. This is meant to educate you, inform you, and protect you in the real things that are happening in the world, and then open it up for you to feel like you can ask anything you want at any point as we do this hangout together. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Detective Josh Lewis.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. So I want to keep this pretty light, pretty straightforward, age appropriate. If you guys have questions as we go along, just chime in and ask a question. You don't have to wait for me to finish. Just go ahead and ask a question. And again, this is some stuff you may know because you've had classes on it in school, and some stuff may be new, but I'm just going to try and touch on a couple things that are going on in reality in terms of websites and apps and gaming and all sorts of things that are just really to keep you safe. For some of the older kids, you're going to look at me and be like, oh, boomer, what does he know about all my apps? But honestly, for 3 years, I worked with the FBI full time, and my online persona, the person I was online, was a 15-year-old girl. So for 3 years, I had people fooled online that I was a 15-year-old girl. So every single day, I would get messages and things would be going on, and I was able to fool the world to think that I was a 15. I don't look like a 15-year-old girl. I don't sound like a 15-year-old girl. We used undercover female police officers when we needed a voice or some photographs of some things. But that being said, if I can be a 15-year-old girl, and I'm certainly not, anybody can. If I can fool other 15-year-old girls into thinking that I'm their friend, anybody can. And that's really what this is about, is not, scaring you or it's just to make you think, because the web is a really scary place. For all the things that it's great for and makes our life so much easier, there's so many things that we don't even think about that aren't real. So one of the first things I always say is, what is a friend? When people say, oh, so-and-so is my friend, I know them, they're my friend. Well, when some of us grew up, we didn't have the internet. We didn't even have cell phones. So our friends were people we really knew. They're people that we saw every day. They're people we saw in school. They're people we really know as a friend. Now that term over the years has changed. So I can say, well, who's that? Well, that's my friend. Well, how do you know them? Well, I met them playing this game, or I met them on Instagram, or they're a friend of a friend. So we have to be really careful in who our friends are, because the person who's your friend that you don't know may not really be the person you think it is. And when someone like me can pretend for 3 years to be a young girl, I had over 3,000 friends on Facebook. Over 3,000 friends. So I didn't know any of them. They didn't know me because they wouldn't have been my friend if they knew I was a cop and pretending to be a girl. So we really need to think about who friends are. And I say that because a lot of the people that do bad things to kids prey on this idea of being your friend. They start off with getting maybe not even to know you, but they'll get to know a friend of yours who may not follow common sense in terms of being on the internet. And they're going to meet your friend, and they're going to befriend them, and they say, hey, who are your other friends? It would be cool to hang out with them too. And then what happens is your real friend will send you a message like, hey, this is my friend Jane. I'm just picking a name. I know Jane. We play whatever game we play together. You know, she's really cool. And then you start talking to Jane because your real friend told you that Jane is their friend. Well, Jane may be someone like me, pretending to be a 13-year-old girl. And they're really not. So we really just have to think about who our friends are. And if you don't physically know someone, I mean physically know someone, I mean you don't know them that you could touch them, or you don't know them because of family, or you don't know them in some real way, they're probably not your friend. There's someone that you may know through the internet, through a game, through an app, but don't trust them to be your friend. Doesn't mean you can't necessarily talk to them in a game and things, but understand that this is how adults do bad things to kids. This is how, not to be too scary, but sometimes when kids go missing, this is how it happens, because adults are pretending to be kids. And then as they get to know you and they get to talk to you, they may finally say that I'm really not a kid. I'm really an adult, but look how cool we've been hanging out all this time. It's okay to talk to me. It's okay because we've been friends for 6 months. I had a case of a 12-year-old girl that disappeared. We got her back, but the person who was talking to her met her in a Disney game. that no one above the age of 13 is supposed to be able to sign up and play. Well, there's no one checking who the 13-year-olds are. This adult man signed up as a kid and spent a year talking to this girl, convincing her he was her friend. And once he felt it was safe, he came out and said, well, I'm really 40-something years old, but I love you. And she wound up going missing. And we're here in Connecticut. That's where I'm talking to you from. We found her in Colorado 3 weeks later. So it's really important to understand who your friends are. And that's really to draw. I mean, I know I'm driving this home, but that's the easiest way that bad things happen, is because adults fool kids. The other thing in terms of apps and websites and all those type of things, just understanding that there's no safe app. There's no safe website. That's where common sense, listening, unfortunately, this is not something you guys want to hear. Listening to your parents sometimes. I know that's painful to hear. But sometimes there are certain things in apps that, you know, it's just part of the app. I know everybody's on TikTok. I know everybody is on all those type of apps, and it's part of your social life. It's part of, well, this dance is on TikTok. This song is on TikTok. This clothing style is on TikTok. That's the in thing right now. I understand that. But again, communicating with people you don't know, even if they're pretending to be a friend of a friend or something, is where all these things start to kind of come apart. And for as much as you guys are tech savvy, you're a generation that really is good with technology, you know, probably more than most of your parents do. Just understand that the people that are manipulating you and using those apps are better at it than you are. And they know how to pretend, and they know how to hide, and they know how to do all those things. And that's something, if someone's asking you to keep a secret, that's a problem. Because if it's something that needs to be that secret, especially with someone you don't really know, that should be a real big warning sign that there's something wrong. Because if it's that secret, it's probably not good. So understanding that people you talk to in an app, even online games, you know, and listen, I do this, well, did this for many, many years. My own daughter, she has TikTok. She has PlayStation Online. She has apps. But parents, there are ways, and I can't endorse any apps for parents, but there are apps you can buy, sign up subscriptions that will let you monitor your kids' websites that they go to. It'll limit the websites that they go to. It will put filters on some of the websites they go to. You can get images if there's the algorithm will flag inappropriate images and send you an image to your phone that's on your child's phone that the software feels inappropriate. So there's stuff out there for parents. You have to kind of do a little bit of homework on your own. iPhones are much more difficult in terms of software than Android phones. But for those iPhone people, if you're a parent, your kids have iPhones, make sure it's hooked up to your iCloud. Make sure that it's hooked up to your Apple ID, that the App Store is your App Store that's tied to your credit card. You can see all the apps that they're downloading. But, you know, to shift back to the kids and away from the parents, just really understanding that the web is not as safe as we like to think it is, and people aren't who they say they are. Just like everything in social media, I'm sure all of you out there know somebody, and when you look at their Instagram, or I'm not even going to bring up Facebook because that just is like boomer generation and no one's using it. But the Facebook stuff and the Instagram stuff and the TikTok, none of it's real. None of it is real. It's 30 seconds. It's one picture. It's a snapshot that's not even reality. So just understand that you can make anything look good online. You can make anyone seem nice online. And you can make everything look safe online. But it's a really scary place. So to kind of wrap up, and I know we're trying to leave some time at the end here, all I can really say and really get across is know who your real friends are. Don't talk to people you don't know. If someone messages you and you have no idea who they are, and even if they say something that makes you think they know you, you don't really know them, don't talk to them. Don't click on links. Don't think you're hiding an app behind a calculator. Someone out there is probably giggling because they know that someone at school has told them, oh, there's a calculator app that'll hide all of these stuff from your parents. Looks like a calculator on your phone. So all of those things, I saw people looking. So there's stuff that they're going to tell you to do. And if someone tells you, hey, do this and hide what I'm going to send you behind this, there's a reason they're telling you to do that. Because they're more worried about people like me finding out what they're doing to kids like you than anything else. They don't care about you. So to wrap up, be safe. If you have questions, ask your parents. If your parents have questions, Roya will definitely get me questions. That's certainly fine. I'm happy to answer. Whatever I can do to help, I'm here to help. So now I'm just going to open up. If anybody has any questions, fire away.
Mr. Josh, Zayden just had a comment. You can make the comment though.
Oh yeah. They must.
I like the mask, by the way.
They must be really talented if they could trick people like that.
Well, thank you. It actually, I don't know how it worked, but believe it or not, the way I learned how to do it was by looking at other kids' Facebook pages. So when I saw something that a kid posted or a kid wrote or something that was trending from another kid, or all I did was take it and use it like it was mine. So if I can learn to do that, the bad guys learn to do that too. So they're using everything you do to get to you. If you put up a post about being sad on Instagram, I had a terrible day, I'm really sad, everything's not, not good. Someone is going to send you a message. I'm so sorry. Why do you feel sad today? Let me cheer you up. And because you're feeling sad and someone's being nice, you may just talk to them about why you're sad. And then they're going to use all of that information to be your friend. And they're not your friend.
That's a good one, because there's a lot of times when we feel sad when we're growing up, and even as adults. And then you feel like somebody is understanding you or listening. You had a question, Aria, about things being real and not real. Aria had a question about clarifying, what do you mean by things not being, all right, I'll ask the question, about things not being, that nothing's real online. She feels like, or knows that her friends post real moments. So can you clarify that a little bit more, what you meant by nothing's real online, Mr. John?
Yeah, it's, everything is, even if it's a video, remember it's 15 seconds, it's 1 minute. So being real is, it may be real in that moment, but that's not their real life. You can make things look like, I'm sure you all have friends and because there are things going on in their life which are not good things. They're really not happy, and there are bad things going on in their life and their problems, but every single post on their social media is them happy and everything is great and everything is, look at me and I'm everything's great, but in reality they're really sad.
You're just giving an example.
So when I say it's not real, it's, you're putting out something that you want people to see. You're not going to put out the feelings that you have that you don't want people to see. And when you look at other things,
you want people to see them sad, and so they put out that, but they might have moments,
right,
but they seem like they're sad all the time or something like that.
Exactly. And the other thing I really want to point out is, another one of my jobs is I work with a lot of celebrities when they come, a lot of rock bands and rappers, and I do protection stuff to make sure that they're safe when they're doing a concert. So I've met I can't even count the number of artists and rappers and country bands and I've met a lot of people, and I've been responsible for keeping them safe while they're in my city performing. Their whole, until they get to a really high level, nothing's real. When you see them in videos and you see them online, their cars aren't theirs. The company the record company owns the cars.
Oh, wow.
The rappers don't own the cars. I've watched rappers go on stage and they have to sign out the jewelry they're wearing. They put the jewelry on and go out on stage, and then they have to return it to the management company when they come off stage.
Oh, wow.
Because they can't really afford the jewelry that they're wearing on stage.
Wow.
So all of that stuff that you see, that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily, you're just seeing the image that you want someone to see. You're not seeing the reality behind the scenes. So everything from cars and houses, and it's sometimes not even theirs. It belongs to the record company. It belongs to the media company or the producers. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of things you see online are just not the real truth. Which is why I could be a 15-year-old girl.
I have a question.
Sure.
How many times a year do like children get like taken away? Like a year?
That's a really hard answer to give. But you know, in the 10 years that I work in a pretty poor city. It's a very violent city. There's a lot of crime. It's a really dangerous place. Luckily, we've only had, I can think that have been gone a long time that we had to find were 2 or 3. But in terms of going missing just short term, I can, over weekends and things like that, we have kids reported missing every single day. That kids are missing for 2 or 3 days. And, you know, they come home, and then sometimes we get cases because sooner or later they start talking about what happened to them over the weekend. You know, they meet someone that they thought was a friend that turns out not to really be their friend. And unfortunately, the last stuff I was doing, the human trafficking stuff, a lot of, and it's boys too, but we talked mostly about girls, but it is boys too. Youngest victim was 11. So they start off, oh, it's, you know, he likes me and it's my boyfriend, and, you know, I'm just going to go see him. And then they're gone for a week or 2. And then when they come back, we have to pick up the pieces. But it's pretty often, unfortunately. Long term, luckily, it's not been many.
And, well,
That's Roya.
Anything else?
yes, we have another question.
How like do the people capture the kids? Do they like capture them like while they're walking alone, or like usually at night, or when, like how do they capture them? Same.
Right. Most of the time, in all honesty, it's not like the movies. It's not like you're walking down the street and people are kidnapping you off the street. That doesn't, not saying it doesn't happen, but that's not the way it really happens.
Oh.
I would say 99% of the time, every case I've ever worked, whatever kid that was involved met the person online and thought it was a friend.
Oh.
They went with them because they were going to go to the movies, or they were going to go to a party, or they were going to go and hang out, and they got picked up, and then they didn't even think that anything was going to happen to them, because this person has them so convinced that their boyfriend, girlfriend, or they have feelings for them, or something to keep them with them. So it's not like they need to be forced to do anything. They almost just start doing it because they feel that they should. It's the peer pressure, feeling like I should be doing it for this person.
What about the new biggest crime happening with human trafficking, mostly of young girls and also boys, where they're saying they're pulling them off the street and they're getting missing from mall parking lots?
That's extreme. That's more media hype. In all honesty, if people were just snatching kids out of parking lots, it would be an epidemic that would be all over the news. Kids really don't get snatched. I would say 99.9% initially go willingly because they've met the person online and they think they know the person. The only cases I've ever had where they didn't really know the person were girls, primarily, some boys that were runaways and living on the streets because they had nowhere to go. And someone offered them a ride or someone offered them some food or a place to stay, and then things happen. But generally speaking, kids are not getting taken, typically.
We have a question.
Okay.
What's the app that usually is like the most fun where people usually find them online?
There's really no one particular app. If it has an open, here's the thing, if they know that kids your age are on it, they're going to go on it. So when Facebook was really big with younger kids, they were on Facebook. When kids stopped using Facebook and went to Instagram, they all went to Instagram. When kids left Instagram and went to TikTok, they went to TikTok. When everyone was saying TikTok's going to shut down, they're going to close TikTok, and whatever they said TikTok was going to be next, even though it hasn't happened yet, they're very good at following you guys in terms of what you're using, because you all share what you're using. You all talk about whatever app you're on so that all your friends can communicate with you on it. So they're just going to follow whatever it is that you guys are on.
Well, what do they do after they take you?
What's that?
What do they do after they take you?
Well, generally they're really not taking you, but when sorry, my dog's barking at someone outside here. The biggest thing that happens with trafficking is they will convince you that whatever you're going to do, and I need to keep it age appropriate, but whatever you're going to do, which are not good things, are horrible things, that you're doing because they love you and that they care about you, and that you're going to do these things because it's going to be, if you love me, you're going to do this for us. This is going to make us money. And with money, we can do so many things. We can buy a house, and we can buy a car, and we can move. And where do you want to live? Do you want to live at the beach? We can go buy a house at the beach. You just need to do this a couple times. And there's no such thing as a couple times. And then they start introducing drugs and alcohol because it's easy, for them to get. And then once they have you using drugs and alcohol, it's much easier to control you. So, everything that people are like, oh, well, it's just, a little marijuana, it's no big deal. You don't, not preaching on drugs here, but that's not what this is about. People can add stuff to marijuana that is not marijuana. And when they have you convinced, oh, well, it's legal here and it's okay here and just smoke a little bit, you don't know what's in it. And all of a sudden it's a much bigger problem than just marijuana.
Out of all of the kids that get tricked by people pretending to be younger and their age and their friends, what % of the kids actually believe them and meet up with them or something like that?
It's really high.
Oh.
It's really high because they spend a lot of time convincing you they're your friend. So, and they're really careful about when they say that they're an adult. You know, and then we've had adults not say they're adults. I actually rescued one girl who was being trafficked by pretending to be the young girl that I was, because the only way she would talk was she was thinking she was talking to another girl her age. So she agreed to meet me as a 15-year-old girl, thinking we were going to hang out and, you know, drive around in a rental car in the city. And when we showed up, I'm not a 15-year-old girl in a rental car. It was me and two other detectives. And she was really mad that I catfished her, as she called it. She was really, really mad. So to this day, now she's out. She's not being trafficked. She's okay. And I dealt with her for probably 2 years getting her out before we got the trafficker in jail. She still joked to this day, I can't believe I thought you were another 15-year-old girl.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so why was she mad if you like kind of saved her?
Because they're so convinced, the people that do this have them so convinced they're almost brainwashed, thinking that I'm not a victim.
Oh, because they give them like a house and stuff and food.
Right. And the emotional part of, well, he loves me and I love him. And I'm going to stay with him because he's the only one who understands me. So kids stay. And unfortunately, even in trafficking cases, I think she went back, even when we got her out, I think she went back 3 times.
Wow.
And that's normal.
Wow.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the kids go with the people that like pretended to be their age, do they like ask their parents if they can do it, or do they like sneak out and do it?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both. Because they'll say, hey, you know, I'm going to meet my friend Susan, and we're going to go to the movies, or we're going to go walk around the mall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Susan.
Yeah.
And sometimes sometimes the people that do this tell the kids that it's not really them. And other times we've had kids show up thinking they're meeting another kid, and it's an adult. And then it's too late. Because, you know, the adult's just too big, too strong, and then bad things happen.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I came into a little bit late, and so you might have covered this, and I apologize if you did. But when, like, you went on as a 15-year-old girl, how is it that, like, I always hear, well, I can see them, so I know they're my age. How does that work? Like, how can you pretend you're a 15-year-old and trick that person? What does that look like online? How do the pictures, because I came in when you were saying that kind of the stuff you see is fake. It's not real. It might be their producer stuff. So I was assuming you were talking about
Right.
like maybe movie stars who have cars and houses and pools and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Well, for me, the easiest thing is I can go on another kid's Facebook page and take their picture. And then all I do is manipulate it a little bit enough so that if someone Google searches that image, you know, it's pretty simple. How do you Google search an image? I've altered it enough that it doesn't bring that person to that person's page. I just need to alter the image a little bit so that when they decide to Google the image, it comes back no image found. So okay. I'm using other kids' photos. I wouldn't use their faces.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's holding up a phone. And once you get a similar body type, it doesn't even matter. The guys don't care about your face.
How do you change it in order to make it look different when you Google it up or something like
That's not really a kid thing I'm going to share. But there are lots of ways to do that. But we just do it so that, like, all I have to do is this. And, half of your pictures that you're sending selfies of, you're blocking your face and you don't even care or realize it. Right. So it's really easy to get content. And then once you just have a couple things of content where it's enough, then it's just memes and pictures and quotes. And then you just throw in a little shot of your, whatever it is, and it's enough to feed the imagery, enough to keep people believing that I'm a 15-year-old girl.
Right. All right, thanks.
No problem.
I have another question.
Sure.
Okay, what if they're like, this is just a random thing I thought of. What if in their, like, say it's Instagram, like if they have like a school they go to in their like bio, and then you can see like images they're tagged in. What if they're like tagged in pictures of their school, like with other people, like other friends, like in the picture?
That one's a sort of like a 50-50, because that could be real, because they could really be, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I have seen them in school and I do know them from school. That's where you have to start really figuring out what's real and what's not.
No, I'm saying like, because like, for example, like say they had not like the school I went to, but like a different school, and like I googled the school and it's a real school, and then I go to the pictures they're tagged in, and they're tagged in pictures like with their friends at that school.
Right. I did that when I was a 15-year-old girl. So I actually, because I picked a school, and I put things about the school in all of my profiles, and when there were other kids that were tagging whatever girl sort of looked like me, whose face was kind of obscured so that they were in the background of something, I would tie myself to that tag so that people were like, oh, well, she really does go to this school because look, she's in the background of this picture. And I would find pictures inside the school on other kids' pages, and like 4 or 5 girls in the bathroom holding up their phone. And I would put that in my profile and say, with so-and-so, 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 study hall. So it looked like I was really going to that school.
That's kind of creepy.
It's creepy. But if I can do it, they can do it.
Yeah.
We're going to take 2 more questions because this is so good. We're running out of time.
We've gone over.
And somebody that has not asked, we can ask one more question.
So when you tag the people in your photos, let's say they see the photo, do they like say or like comment like I don't know you, or do they not say anything?
Because a lot of times they don't say anything, and if they do, because you control the page, you delete it. So it doesn't matter even if it's up for a day and someone's like, hey, I don't remember, who are you? Well, big deal. Then I delete it and I delete the photo, but I had it up for a day. And that one day may be enough just to fool someone to really thinking like, oh, well, there she is. She's in the bathroom with 3 of her friends. It only takes one picture for a very short period of time. And like I said, I had 3,000 something. I don't know 3,000 people. So how do I have 3,000 friends?
Does anybody else we'll take one more question before we do the drawing. Emma, are you saying something because you're muted? No? Okay. I had one question to wrap it up, Detective. Here's the question. It can be a lot of pressure to try out like new things that other people are trying, but you don't necessarily know what's in there. And we can't unsee what we've seen. And so, and then we can kind of get into maybe what other people are doing in that space. So it can be a lot where kids are like more likely to take, they were taking more photographs than ever before. So maybe like taking photographs of their body in a way that they would only want a couple of people to see or one person to see. What are the dangers of taking parts of your body in pictures now on the internet and sharing it like on some app that you think only one person's going to see?
Right. It never goes away. If you take a picture and you put it on the internet, I don't care what the app is, someone can save it. The minute you send it, I mean, as simple as a screenshot, they can save it. There are apps on a phone that anything that video, photo, whatever that it gets sent, it gets downloaded or it gets uploaded to a cloud. So there is no such thing as sending a picture to just one person. The other problem is that one person is your friend today, but they may not be your friend tomorrow. And especially in the age group that I'm talking to, you all have friends that, well, they're my best friend, and in 6 months you hate that person. So that photo that you sent may now be sent by that person as a way to hurt you. So that picture never goes away. That video never goes away. And understand that there are people that are going to use that picture for lots of horrible reasons, and maybe even use it against you. And a lot of times that what happens is they will get you to send them a picture of something, of you, of parts of your body, and then they'll use it to say, if you stop talking to me, I'm going to send this to your mom. If you stop talking to me or you tell anyone, I'm going to send this to all of your contacts, all of your friends, and they're going to see what a horrible thing you did. And that's really, really common. That happens all the time. So those parts of your body, they're not for photographs. They're not for videos. You can't take it back. So it's not for anyone on the internet to see. It's not to share with your friends. Because, again, you don't even know who your real friends on the internet are. But understand that no matter what someone says, oh, I'll delete it, once you hit the send button, there's no taking it back.
Wow, thank you, Detective. This has been really, really, really heavy. Can we give him a big round of applause for sharing so much information? He stayed on extra for us. I want to thank him. Thank you so much, Josh Lewis. We have Debbie coming on now. I'm going to unmute Debbie. She's going to give away the Amazon gift card. And so many of you guys have been so terrific about being on here. I'm going to spotlight Debbie. And I think you're unmuted now, Debbie. Awesome.
Think so. Hi, guys.
And she put the questions askers inside the bowl, and then anybody that was on for the entire time. Here we go. There.
Okay.
And the winner of the $50 Amazon gift card goes to
Emma.
Congratulations, Emma. You are the winner. Where are you, Emma?
I didn't know which one's Emma. There we go.
Yes. Emma is Crystal Trojanowski's daughter, and she brought a couple friends, and so congratulations.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I know how to get in touch with your mama.
Yeah.
Give you the Amazon gift card, and so we'll transfer that over to you. And so I'm just so proud of you guys. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for asking such great questions. If you think this was good and you think you would like your friends to have an opportunity to do it, ask your parents to send me a message and say, hey, can we do it again? If any parent does not want their child shared in a video share for anybody that could not be on live and wants to watch Detective Josh's information today and your questions and his answers, then please private message me tonight, and we're going to have the recording uploaded and available. Okay? Did I forget something? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful. You guys are great kids. You're smarter than the average bear now. You're all equipped and armed, and pass it on, okay? Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.